Developing this noon, a SEPTA police officer shot a suspect following a deadly shooting in South Philadelphia.
It happened around 8 o'clock this morning in the area of Broad and Ellsworth Streets. That's where investigators say a man shot a 20-year-old woman 10 times. A SEPTA police officer who was in the area at the time exchanged gunfire with the 41-year-old shooter, hitting him twice. The woman died at the hospital, and the accused gunman is in stable condition. The SEPTA police officer was not hurt. And an unidentified man is at Temple Hospital this afternoon in critical condition after being shot in the head. That shooting happening around 9 o'clock this morning at 17th and Mount Vernon. Police say they do have a person in custody in connection with that shooting, but they have not released any additional information. And we're back with some breaking news overnight. A woman and a teenager shot in Frankfort. According to Philadelphia police, this happened on the 1900 block of Hayworth Street just before 1 o'clock this morning. Now, officials say they believe the victims were on their way home when three men approached them, opening fire before eventually running off. We're told both victims are in stable condition. So far, there have been no arrests.
It is 6 o'clock and we're starting with breaking news. Video from a SEPTA platform where a train stopped after a deadly shooting on board. A man was shot 11 times and killed this afternoon. A 16-year-old boy was also hit. And we've just learned there were about a dozen passengers on the train when the shots were fired. This is Eyewitness News at 6, and we continue to stream live on CBS News Philadelphia. I'm Yuki Washington.
I'm Jessica Cartalia. That shooting happened at the Fairmount stop on the Broad Street line just before 3 this afternoon. Eyewitness News reporter Alicia Roberts with an update on what she has learned. Hi, Alicia.
Hi, Jess. Hi, Yuki. Good evening to you. That's right. Police are telling us right now that the shooter targeted his victim as the train, it was a southbound train, stopped here at the Fairmount Avenue station, and that some sort of fight led up to shots being fired. Tonight, that shooter remains on the run. Police were called here officially at 2:42 this afternoon, and when they arrived, they found a 21-year-old man who was shot 11 times across his body. Officials rushed him upstairs to the street where they attempted to stabilize him before rushing him to Temple University Hospital, where he died from his injuries. Now tonight, once again, we've learned it was a 16-year-old who was shot in the arm one time. He was able to drive himself to the hospital where he is in stable condition tonight. But as you mentioned, police say it was a busy train, about a dozen people on board, when the shooter and that 21-year-old, who was also carrying a weapon, fired at least 14 rounds during that exchange.
It actually happened on the train itself, which was occupied. I watched the video. There was at least 12 people on that train at that point in time. So this could have been much worse.
Now tonight, service has resumed along the southbound side of the Broad Street line. Police are continuing to review video surveillance from both the train car and the station itself as they work to identify that shooter.
Police responded to a crash tonight in Ronhurst and found two men shot in the head. The car crashed on Bustleton Avenue and was called in around 8 o'clock. When officials got on the scene, they say the driver and passenger, both men in their 20s, had suffered gunshot wounds to the head. The driver died at the scene. The second victim was taken to a hospital and is said to be in critical condition. This is what police told us tonight.
We have been going up and down Bustleton, trying to find some sort of a crime scene, trying to find some spent shell casings. We have been unsuccessful thus far. So we don't know where this shooting actually occurred.
Police say it appears the men were shot from the driver's side of the vehicle. They are looking at surveillance video in the area of the crash for clues. In North Philadelphia, police say a 36-year-old man is fighting for his life after he was shot in the head. This was the scene on the 2700 block of French Street. At least 18 shell casings from a rifle were marked by police. Police say the victim might have been ambushed as he was getting out of his vehicle.
Philly police are looking for suspects responsible for a mass shooting in Kensington. This is video from the 800 block of East Allegheny Avenue. Police say the shooting happened around 10:45 last night. There was a black vehicle parked there, and at some point multiple people got out of the car and started firing into a crowd. 9 people were taken to the hospital. 2 are in critical condition. Deputy Commissioner John Stanford says a narcotics strike team was on an investigation halfway up the block and heard the gunfire.
We have some brazen individuals in this city that don't care. They don't care how many police officers are out here, and some of them don't care in terms of how many people are out here. And so we continue to do what we need to do to try and get these individuals in custody.
Now, police say that 40 pieces of ballistic evidence were counted. Officers will be canvassing area businesses for surveillance video, and they believe the shooting was targeted, but the investigation is ongoing. They're asking if you have any information, please reach out to Philly Police.
Let me tell you what investigators are doing right now in that double homicide. It happened just after midnight right here on the 200 block of St. Bernard Street. Police telling us they found two men in a vehicle suffering from gunshot wounds. One was shot in the back. The other had multiple gunshot wounds to the head. Both were pronounced on scene. Right now, the investigation is ongoing. Also in West Philly, another shooting within the same hour leaves another man dead. Police found the 28-year-old victim unresponsive with multiple gunshot wounds on South 58th Street. A trail of blood was traced back to the 700 block of South Cecil Street, where police believe that shooting happened. The victim was pronounced dead at the hospital. So far, no arrest. Get back to the breaking news we're following out of Frankfurt. A double shooting with a major crime scene. Let's get out to Steve.
Now we have another crime scene, Thomas. A guy shows up at a Wawa on Frankfurt Avenue, grazed in the stomach. They've got a gun. They don't even know what that is yet. So that's also happening right now. But at this scene, this is an odd scene. Now there are close to 200 bullet shells found here, and there's a whole bunch of streets right off Frankfurt Avenue. You see one of the many side streets, Coral Street. So what happens is a woman shot in the forearm. She's 33. A guy is shot in one of his arms. He's 39. They're shot at Frankfurt and Birch, where police found 3 bullet shells. While they're attending them, they hear this barrage of gunfire over here. Despite all these shots from so many caliber guns, including rifle rounds, everywhere you look, this is just an unbelievable scene. They don't know if they have any shooting victims from here because there's no blood and there's no bodies. So somebody was firing all these guns, and maybe it had been a shootout and everybody with the gun missed everybody else with the gun. Police don't even know what they have here. But 2 shooting victims were not shot here. They were shot at Frankfurt and Birch and then ran here. And as they're running here, then all the gunfire. And then down Frankfurt Avenue a ways is where the man is shot at Wawa. And all this follows 3 men shot within 45 minutes in southwest Philadelphia on the other side of the city. So we've had a relatively calm period for nearly a month while the Phillies and Eagles have been on these runs, coinciding with that. And then suddenly, after the game's end last night, just murder and mayhem all over the town. So we'll wrap all this up for you throughout the morning, but this is the latest scene, something cops are just shaking their heads at. They keep finding bullet shells every minute, and it's still dark out, but they're flashing all their lights. The crime scene unit, nowhere even near this yet because they've been so busy themselves